Wow, I thought you were playing an acoustic guitar for a minute. So
Almost.
well, hello there. My name's HW.
I'm John 2.
John 2, what are you doing here?
Playing metal?
Playing metal. That's exactly it. John, I was really excited that you made all this metal junkie stuff because there's a couple of controls in the Kemper that a lot of people have told me, oh, it works really well for metal stuff. And I hadn't really quite experienced that yet. And so I want to specifically do some experiments with the clarity control with one of these ones you made here. So here is, from the Dog Does Might pack.
Yep.
And it's the Boogie Mark 7 MK4 channel.
Yep.
2.
It's a lot of gain.
Yeah. So, but I want to come in here. So I'm going to let you play this one more time. Like, give me a riff or something, and then I'm going to up the clarity all the way to 10. Let's listen to it, what we hear it doing, because the clarity seems to do the most, or it does more with more gain.
Yeah.
It seems to have it affects cleaner profiles less.
Yep.
And that's kind of what I'm used to, it being a very subtle control.
Right.
But with this much gain,
It's
it's
not subtle.
not that subtle.
It's not subtle at all.
So let's hear how this sounds. And now that's a clarity at 0. Let's go all the way clarity at 10. So my understanding of what the clarity control does is it adds in clean into the higher end of the frequency spectrum. It layers a clean version of this amp on top. So the same kind of tone you would get if you could turn the gain down.
Right.
So it's supposed to be this amp clean, kind of layered on top of some of the higher frequencies. I don't think I have that wrong.
It's weird because it sounds like the opposite of a depth control.
Yeah. It sounds like the low end, when I turn it down, I'm turning up the depth. Play a little and I'll turn the clarity from 10 to 0. This is like one time I heard Steve Stevens, I think it was, say, but there's treble in my bass. Yeah. Right? Which is like it's kind of this sound. It's like there's still a lot of like low end. Like you still hear it, but there's a lot of like treble in it. Like there's a lot of attack.
Yeah.
It's maybe clear. There's more clarity in like the string separation and the pick attack.
Well, and a lot of high gain amps have like a tight control. And this is sort of like that. It like really tightens up. It has the effect, even though what you said is true, but it has the effect of really tightening up the low end. A lot of times you can end up with way too much low end.
Right.
And then it gets flubby.
Right.
And so you want to tighten it up. The Kemper, a lot of these amps don't have a tight control.
Right.
So the Kemper does you a favor.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, you could dial this in slowly. I'll just bring it up slowly while you play a little bit. Because maybe, 0 and 10 are pretty extreme settings.
Extreme.
So here's unaffected, just clarity at 0.
And there, the other reason that it takes kind of a high gain setting to make this is because it's really, you hear it on the chugging.
Yeah,
right?
the attack is like a real, and the tightness of it. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's really where, that's where most of the important parts of the depth control are making it work. And so, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I could hear that this is maybe a sound you would want. Like here's the clarity at 0. But outside of any musical context, I kind of prefer it a bit around like 3.5.
Sure. Yeah, it just tightens it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, in a musical context, it could be, you could make a completely different decision.
Totally.
And it may be that you want it on 10.
Yeah.
It may be that you want to make a lot, like in the context of music, it's always different. You said in the last video we did, that's why you were glad that you did videos for all the demos, like
Yeah.
us in the context of a song.
In the
because
context.
it helps you show things off and
in mixing those, I was really careful to, there's hardly anything happening. There's no
Right,
post EQ or anything like
right.
that happening in those. And so you really get a sense of what it is, because a lot of times what you would do if it's too much, you can have like I forget what they call it, but it's basically like a mixture between a compressor and an EQ plugin. And so like as it reaches some threshold, it actually just dips a certain frequency that you want. And so end up with a lot of metal music, you end up like wanting it to dump a lot of the low frequencies.
Sure.
When you're palm muting.
Yeah.
So this kind of does that, but without a plugin on the out.
Right. Right.
So,
yeah, it's cool. I mean, I would say in layman's terms, it might give you a little tightness, a little treble in your bass, a little more clarity.
Yeah. It's a little clarity.
Little attack, but it's not the attack control. It's not the pick.
Right.
It's not the pick parameter.
Which does something very different.
Which maybe we'll get to in the future. But
yeah.
But clarity. It gives you a little clarity, a little treble in the bass, a little attack.
Yep.
Feels like a little tighter. All these words kind of, it feels like they're circling the same bush. Do you know what I mean? Like
sure.
they're all circling the same idea.
Yeah.
You can kind of just hear it more.
You can go too far with it, and
Sure.
it starts affecting the way the gain sounds, and it starts affecting in sort of a negative way. But there is a sweet spot.
Yeah. All right, I'll let you play. I'll go 0 to 10, and we'll get out of here. My name's HW.
All right, I'm John too.